I'm working on the end of my last thrift haul and the start of this thrift haul at the same time. We might be a little bit behind, but I'm here and I hope you enjoy this video. I am Connie from The Painted Photographer and welcome back. And it's my thrift haul. I show you what I got, what I paid for it, and then I show you how I fix it up. This little basket, it's my favorite. It's $1.99 is what I paid for this. It is a sturdy basket, and you can put forks and knives and spoons in there. You can put a bud vase in there with some flowers. I can't wait to stage this and show you how I'm going to use it. There are so many different ways to use a basket, and this is definitely a sturdy basket. And for $1.99, I couldn't pass it up. Look at this enamel mug with those beautiful hand-painted flowers on it. And it is metal enamel, and it has a black rim. It has the yellow on the top. Absolutely love it. 49 cents. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it, but I just really like it. Wouldn't you like to drink coffee out of here? This is garden. Like, it's garden season, almost. And I need some pots to put some plants in outside because I am a garden lover. I love to have pots on my patio and my porch. And I like to make all things just really inviting for my guest. 99 cents. It's just green, has grody stuff in it, like butterfly wings, moth wings, something. It is Floraline USA. Not sure what that means, but that's what it says. And it's green. I will paint it. I'm gonna put a crock stamp on here. I'm loving my crock stamps. Here's a metal tray, hobnobbed on the bottom, copper look to it. And 99 cents. Did I tell you that? 99 cents. So hobnob on the bottom and some rose inlay on the sides. I like it as is. Probably try and sell it as is. If it doesn't sell, then I'll paint it. And it's $1.99 for that. Here's a frame. It says home on it. Someone actually took the time to nail in an actual board, and I like when an actual board is in there. It has two hangers. I'll repaint it. We'll do something fun. I love me some blue and white dishes. And look at this saucer. Isn't that gorgeous? And this is, I cannot. Henley, England is all I can really get out of that. It was $2.99 at Goodwill, and it was 99 cents at my thrift store. So someone didn't even take the Goodwill price tag off. That's the embossing stamp on the back side. This is going to look really pretty in someone's home or mine in the bathroom. I'm not sure if I'm selling this or not. My bathroom is blue and white. Again, all things garden. Just a terracotta saucer comes in extremely handy. And I might just paint this one up and put another pot on top. You never know. I do like terracotta, which brings me to another garden pot. And that terracotta pot didn't have a price, or saucer did not have a price on it. So I'm gonna say it was like 39 cents, 49 cents, something like that. This pot was 99 cents. It has some embossed butterflies on it. It is really dirty, gross. And it does have an insert to be planted inside. It is from Pier 1. This aqua blue saucer could be used for a candle, could just be used to put a little bunny in there. It was just adorable. I love the color. It was 39 cents, and it is clay. It has a number 5-850 on the bottom. Not sure if that means anything, but that's what it said. A couple of bowls, square wood bowls. These were both 19 cents. I can do some really fun stuff with wood bowls because you can paint wood and they will look pretty cool. Now, on my live the other night, they tell me that this was a violet pot. I did not know that. So if you can confirm that this is a violet pot for your indoor violets, give me a comment below. I'd love to know. But this was 99 cents and I thought I had a bonus and had 2 pots, but they tell me you put water in this part and you put your violet in this part and the water absorbs into the clay on this one to water your plant. So this was a really cool blue color. I could not pass it up for 99 cents. I'm gonna have to get me a violet if you tell me that this is for violets. Here's another blue bowl crock, which will get a traditional pots transfer. It was $1.99. Love that blue. I'm all about the traditional pots transfers and stamps. Here is a candle holder. It's 99 cents. This would make a really, really good riser for something, for your spring decor. Paint it up, kind of fun. Or even a candle, 99 cents. It's gonna get a makeover. Here's a resin. This is not wood, it is resin. It was 98 cents. It does have some lilies on the front and it does say believe, inspire, dream. I don't really care for this part of it. I don't mind that. So I might try and enhance this just a little bit and make that go away. These are cool. This was a good find. Look at these. They're really chunky. They're very heavy. I could use them to lift weights. They're not that heavy. I wish that's all the weight I needed to lift. $1.29 for each of them. So $1.29. They are a little grody. They just need to be cleaned up. They need to have a more modern finish to them so they don't just look dirty. This was an enamel pot. I think a plant belongs in here. It has blue on the rim with a blue handle. They tell me this goes in a potty chair. Tell me, do you know if this goes in an old-fashioned potty chair? It is metal. It has a ding on here, which I really do like. And if it went in a potty chair, that's not what I'm gonna use it for. I'm gonna plant in that. Here's a little bird. He would be super cute on top of here. He'd be super cute in this little dish here. So he's just a cute little bird figurine. I got him for 39 cents. He will be sold as is. I just need to clean him up. He's a little grody. And then one last thing, an angel food cake pan. And I painted one of these queen bee yellow and there was people fighting over it. So I wanna try and duplicate the same thing. So follow along in the video and see how I paint this yellow and make it really cute. I have sedum planted in mine outside and the dirt goes in there, but my bottom comes out. This is all one. So this is a vintage angel food cake pan. It was $1.99. That's it for my thrift haul. And if you would like any DIY paint or IOD products or want any of these products, you can head on over to my website at thepaintedphotographer.com and I'll ship them right to your front door. And I will see you at the end. Here are these couple of medallions. I've heard that the brown tones are in. So we're gonna paint these layered chocolate underneath. So I'm not really sure what happened to my layered chocolate, but it's really thick. We're gonna use it like this because it's just the under layer. I could add a little water to it to make it go on a little bit better, but I don't mind the kind of chunky look to it. It's kind of like I don't have to add baking soda or salt wash to it. It's already chunky. After the paint was all dry, I took my DIY white wax and went over the top of the entire item. And there was no clear wax or big top on here. It is just straight white wax because I really wanted it to absorb into the paint. While that wax is still wet, you're going to take a lint-free cloth and you're going to buff it off. So you're going to take all the excess off and just leave that white wax in all those crevices. Here is a before and an after. After the wax has dried for 24 hours, take a dry cloth and buff right over the top to bring back its sheen. For this base pot, we're gonna make it a little bit aged. So the first thing I wanna do is I take a scruffy brush. This one is just a brush that I cut the bristles off. And I'm gonna dip into my white. And then I'm actually gonna take most of my white off and just dry brush it off. Then I'm gonna go ahead and dry brush on this saucer, just bringing some of that white back. So it gives it a little bit of a limestone age to it, but without painting it. So a little bit on your brush, wipe most of it off, and go right onto your clay pot. We're gonna do the inside because I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with this yet. It might be a tray on the patio. So we're gonna go ahead and finish that inside. So since you're dry brushing, this is immediately dry. Like, it doesn't have to have any dry time. We'll do the bottom, just because. Just in case someone wants to flip it over like this and put a pot on top of that, which would make a nice riser. So there we have it. But I'm not done yet. I want to put some moss on here. So I don't want real moss. We're gonna make painted moss. So I'm gonna dip into my original layered chocolate, and then I'm gonna add some Salty Kiss into my layered chocolate, darkening up that green. And then we're gonna dab it on. Kind of like sponge painting back in the day. All right, there we have that. Now we're gonna dip into a little bit of the green and a little bit of the white. We're gonna brighten up some of that moss and give it a nice, pretty green. And we're just gonna dab a little bit on top of what we already have for green. Now we gotta wait for that to dry. I used the DIY wax to seal up this saucer. This is just the clear wax going on, and it brightens that color really well. Now add in the dark wax, which will give this saucer some nice age. And since I added the clear wax first, you can manipulate and move around that dark wax a little bit easier. I felt like it needed a little bit something to jazz it up a bit, so I used the Golden Rule Gold Wax, which is an amazing product. It's so smooth and buttery, and it's very metallic-y. So I went ahead and put it on the edges just with my finger, and that green, dark green, and that gold was perfect together. So it gives it a little bit of shiny charm to it. And I just went ahead and added it to the inside as well. I'm going to decoupage on this board, and I'm going to put something on here, and it's best to have as light a background as you can. So I'm going to give this board a layer of white swan, just so what I decoupage on top of here kind of illuminates a little bit versus sucks into that dark background. The DIY Liquid Patina is a transfer and a decoupage gel. It's clear, has a cloudy look to it, but it goes on clear. We're going to take a paintbrush and we're gonna put the Liquid Patina onto this white board. I am putting some musical paper on the back here. It's actually musical. It's piano music. It's actually piano music from my grandmother. I've saved it and saved it and saved it, and I don't know what to save it for anymore. So we're gonna start to use it. Because why have it if you're not gonna use it? So you're gonna get that Liquid Patina all on there, nice and wet. And then you're gonna put your paper on there and push it down. I cut the paper off on the bottom here along the music lines so that I knew it would be straight. And now just push it on there. Some of the pieces feel a little dry. Pick them up, recoat it, and lay it back down. After it dried, I sanded off the edges to make them nice and crisp on the outside, and then I took another coat of Liquid Patina and put it over top of the music just to protect it a bit. I wanted to put something fun on this music sheet, so I went ahead and took a lot of DIY paint colors and I painted a few roses onto the sheet of music, and it looks pretty awesome.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart, what is it that you do?
Using my separated big top, I went ahead and put a thin coat over top of the entire painting and music sheet just to protect everything. And I made sure that that paint was very dry before I did that. I also went over the frame with a coat of big top, and then when everything was completely dry, I went over with some dark wax, which the big top protected, gave it a little bit of a barrier so the big top or the dark wax didn't stay on very well. It was easily came off when I took the white cloth and I went over top of the entire item, and some of that dark wax came off and some of it stayed into the crevices and aged that piece up. We need to cut this bird out of here. We're gonna decoupage him onto this little frame that we're gonna put on that basket. So I'm cutting it out of the napkin. I'm just going around the little bird, not real close to the edges because it's a light background, so you're not gonna be able to see it anyway when it gets decoupaged on there. But I'm cutting off most of it. I did not tear the 2-ply of this yet. And I'll show you in a minute when I do. Okay, we got a little bit left on right here. Now I'm gonna lick my fingers and get that little piece started. Okay, I got the little piece started. And now you're going to go ahead and tear that 2-ply off. Some napkins have 3-ply. Make sure you get all the layers off. You only want that one single layer left. So that's what's gonna decoupage on. Then you can go with your scissors and trim the remaining off. The reason I do this is because it's really hard to trim a 1-ply napkin. So there, he's all trimmed out, ready for that frame. Now we're gonna decoupage this little birdie onto this frame. So we're gonna put some liquid patina right into the middle of this frame. And then this little tissue paper birdie. I'm gonna lay him right in there and smooth him down. His tail isn't gonna fit real well, so I'm gonna smooth him down, take my brush, go over where his tail is, and push it into the details. You're gonna lose some of it, but that's okay. Make sure all of the tissue paper is adhered to that frame. And you got yourself a cute little birdie inside a frame, and we're gonna add some more color to that frame. I painted the outside of this frame in Salty Kiss, and now I'm going ahead and clear waxing it, and then I'm going to take the dark wax and age it up a bit. This is the frame from the Frames mold set from Iod. I will add a link below in the description of where you can purchase this mold from thepaintedphotographer.com. I added one more layer to this frame. It's all in the details, right? Even if they are small. So this is Golden Rule. This is the DIY Gilding Wax. That's amazing. I just put it on with my finger and gave the outside of that frame just a little glam. I can't find any photos of when I did my angel food cake pan in the yellow, so I'm just gonna wing it. We are going to paint this cake pan Queen Bee, DIY Queen Bee. And all I'm gonna do is give it a layer of Queen Bee, and then we'll see what else we're gonna do to it. I've been on a texture kick lately, so I wanted a little bit of texture in that Queen Bee, so I added some salt wash to the DIY Queen Bee and just mixed that all up and put a layer of that onto the cake pan, which gave it a lot of texture, and also the coverage was amazing.
I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Just tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself.
I'm all about the layers, so I took cake batter, which is a lighter yellow, and I dry brushed it onto the cake pan, which it hit all those edges that were textured. And then I went ahead and I sanded it and distressed it back down. And some of the wet distress took off some of that cake batter, which I still really, really liked. It got a layer of Big Top. The cake pan needed something, so I took this wallflower transfer from Iod. I love this transfer. I could use it on everything. But I went ahead and I had the flat edges of the wallflower, and so I just lined it up on the cake pan. And since it's a rounded surface, I had to cut the transfer in half, which is fine. You can cut these transfers and lay them back down and line them up, and you'll not even know that you cut it in half. But it was just easier for me to cut this transfer and go ahead and take the brayer stick, I don't know what you call it, and rub that transfer off. And then go ahead and go all the way around the cake pan with the transfer, adding different pops of color.
Girl, this year I know that we could fly up in the sky. At least we could try, girl. Yeah, you know that I've been around this time, look up and down for some to play with. Yeah, I know I finally found you, girl. I know I found you, girl. You got me.
I know that I messed up, wish I could take it back, but it doesn't matter when you look at me like that. I know that I f***ed up, but that doesn't work as an excuse. Sorry doesn't cut it, but I'm sorry for what I did to you. Can only sleep with the TV on. Ever since you left, I'm going through the motions. I'm laying here looking at the door. Please come home, you belong by my side, babe. It's getting cold on the side.
To seal in that transfer, I took a layer of clear wax and went right over top. Remember, it did have a layer of Big Top on it also. So this is like a second layer of clear. And then I took the dark wax and went over the entire cake pan to add to that layer. I'm all about the layers, but it kind of stays, when you buff that dark wax back off, that dark wax will stay in those crevices and give it a nice age.
It's all games till someone gets their heart broken, my love. I can only sleep with the TV on. Ever since you left, I'm going through the motions. I'm laying here looking at the door. Please come home, you belong by my side, babe. It's getting cold on the side where you used to sleep, so I get drunk, tangled up in these dirty sheets.
You've seen from that last photo, I gave this copper pan, this copper tray, a coat of cake batter, which is a lighter yellow. I was inspired from that little bird figurine. He was such a pretty little yellow, and this cake batter matches that color. So I went ahead and I put 2 coats on this copper tray, both front and back side. And then I took and wet distressed all of the top off, and it brings out that copper metal look to it. And this cake batter with copper is so pretty.
I know that I messed up. Wish I could take it back, but it doesn't matter when you look at me like that. I know that I fucked up, but that doesn't work as an excuse.
Since this tray will get quite a bit of use, I went ahead and put a layer of Big Top onto the tray, which brought back that color. Big Top is a nice sealer if you're going to have something that is going to be used pretty tough.
Please come home, you belong by my side, babe. It's getting
Iod molds are so fun to work with. You take the Iod clay, air dry clay, and you pop it into the mold and take off all of the edges. There's a microfiber or micro rim on this mold, and you just remove it to that micro rim and it pops out. Sometimes you got to force them a little bit. Almost broke that little birdie's head. And I took the Iod trimmings mold and made a trim for the top just to jazz that up a little bit. I take wood glue and put it on the back, smearing it around with my finger. You can use a stick or something else if you don't want to use your fingers. But you smear that glue all the way onto the back side of that mold. And also I put the bird mold on as well. And this trimmings mold went perfectly all the way around. I didn't even have to cut it. That was like amazing. And I stuck that little mold on there, and you have to let it dry.
where you used to sleep, so I get drunk, tangled up in these sturdy sheets. I cannot live with myself if you.
I wanted a pretty green color for this bird, so I went ahead and took Apothecary, and then this is a DIY test paint color, which kind of looks like aviary. So if you have aviary, then I mixed those two together. I wanted more of a green and not that bluish Apothecary. And the green color that I got from this was pretty sweet. So have fun mixing those DIY paint colors together and see what you can create. Then I added the salt wash. I told you I was all about texture in this video. So I added the salt wash, and not quite as much as I normally do. And it's still like a brownie batter. Now here's this clay pot. It had a chip in it, and I went over it with this custom color in the salt wash and just kind of made that a little bit thicker in that area with the chip. And trust me, you don't even know that that chip was there. And I need pots to put some of my plants in. So this is a perfect makeover for an ugly old pot. I had leftover paint, and so I just went ahead and I put it on the wood bowls as well, giving them a nice texture. I used my heat gun to dry that thick paint, which resulted in a lot of cracking. I absolutely love it. It's another texture. Dry brushing with some white paint to add a layer on top of that texture. And adding those layers, you might think that this is pretty subtle, but trust me, you will notice the difference if you go ahead and add just this small little detail. And I also added pink to this little candle holder, which that little green and pink, it was a pop of fun color. I had given them all a coat of Big Top, and now I'm going on with the dark wax all over the entire piece. And when you buff that dark wax back, when it's still wet, you're not gonna let that dry. You're gonna, while it's wet, you're gonna take that back. And that age is amazing. This plaque wasn't working out the way that I wanted to, so I went over the entire thing with a layer of crinoline, and I'm going to use this paint inlay on top of that crinoline. So you want to make sure that your paint is white, and this is the blue chintz, and you just place it on top of your item while the paint is still wet, smoothing that all down. I really wanted some wrinkles in this plaque, making it look old, like an old China blue plaque, if you will. And so I forced some wrinkles into the paint inlay and smoothed it all down using my hands, and then I went back over it with the Iod brayer, which makes sure that the inlay is for sure intact to the paint. Now the paint inlay has dried and the paint underneath has dried, so you're gonna re-wet it. And I like to take a baby wipe and kind of sop up any excess. Let it on there for a few minutes and then take that paint inlay and pull it back and watch the magic happen. These inlays are so fun. If you haven't tried them yet, what are you waiting for? After it had thoroughly dried, I put a layer of Big Top on the plaque, and now I'm going over it with some dark wax just to bring out some of that age look into the plaque. And wherever I had those wrinkles in the paint inlay, this wax is going to accent those wrinkles as well. So you can buff off that wax while it's wet. And you can see that I did get a look that I wanted, but I kind of wanted it a little bit lighter. So I just went ahead with a clean paper towel and I buffed it some more. And what you're going to do after 24 hours is you will buff the remainder of the wax and bring it back to its nice shine. I dark waxed and it got into all the crevices. I still wanted it to look more vintage. So wax should be last, but I've never been known to follow rules. So I'm gonna go ahead and age this a little bit more with some Iod ink. This is the brown. and I'm just putting it around the edges. It's giving it a tile look, maybe. Okay, so there it has a little bit more age, but now I'm gonna go in with some black ink and do the same thing. There we have some nice age. I'd even like it a little darker on the edges. This was a big thrift haul. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. If you would like any of these products, you can stop on by thepaintedphotographer.com and I'll ship them right to your front door. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy painting.